Hello everyone and welcome back to the BUSR. It is the summer series. We've arrived in the sunny summertime and we're starting off as always with our Assetto Corsa series. This year we are racing GR86 Cup cars. I am Dan and I'm joined this time by Tom. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well, thank you, Dan. Looking forward to first round of this summer series. We're going to Okayama, a very technical circuit, and a very compact circuit for what we're expecting to be a grid of cars, which is going to be in the high 20s. So, yeah, a lot of action to unpick with you. Happy to be here.
That's good to hear. Yeah, so as was said by Tom, they're off to Japan. Okayama GP circuit is 3.7 kilometers long with about 13 turns. A lot of them are very tight, which provides both technical difficulty and a good chance to overtake. But as is the first round of the season, let's do some general housekeeping. The cars you're going to see are all identical. They are 2022 Toyota GR86 Cup cars. They've got a 2.4 litre flat four engine, around about 310 horsepower. Now, any of you Anorak nerds out there might be going, that sounds like a lot for a GR86. It is. This is the BUR special version of the GR86 Cup car. Some of our experts behind the scenes went in, fettled with the model a little bit, gave it a bit more power, a bit more tunability, should we say, just to make it that little bit faster, running about the same lap times as a slow TCR car just behind a GT4 car. That's sort of the pace we're expecting. Okayama's lap times are sort of 1:36 for the front, 1 minute 39s and 1 minute 41s for the mid and the back of the pack. Should prove quite interesting. Also got 2 races today after qualifying, and the second one is reverse grid for maximum carnage. I'm looking forward to this. Commentate will be through everything, but the race will start, qualifying, will start in the next minute or so as we get the cars ready for on the server.
Yep, indeed. And, looking at this track, I don't have a lot of experience with it, but I know it's a very technical circuit. The midsection, particularly, we'll see a lot of drivers tripping over one another. And especially in the reverse grid race, it will be interesting to see how they pick their way through the battles.
Definitely, we've got that nice sort of technical flowing S's section towards the start of the lap, which should allow some drivers' skill levels and tune different setups to come through. And then a very long back straight before we're into a series of very tight corners right the way through to the end of the lap. I implore you, if you haven't looked at this circuit before, go and find a map because you're not going to be able to get it all just from watching this. If you've not heard of this circuit, that's very fair enough. It's not been used for international motorsport for quite a while now, but over 30 years ago, it was used for Formula One. They ran 2 Grand Prix here in the mid 1990s, both won by Michael Schumacher. So it's a famous circuit if you know your 90s Formula One or your Japanese touring cars or Super Formula or other such similar series. If you're not as familiar with those, then it's fair enough you don't understand it, but it should prove some great racing. And that's what I love about the BUSR, is that it brings tracks to the forefront that we haven't seen before. Last year we went to some great ones, and there are some more great ones on the calendar as we're now getting the cars out for 20 minutes of qualifying.
Yep, indeed. Very interesting to see all the cars bunched up as we head into the back straight on the track map down there. You'll wonder if there's going to be any shenanigans going on in terms of tow, or if drivers are just looking to keep themselves to themselves and get a clean lap in.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult one in qualifying. I think we've got high entry numbers. We're already over 25 cars in the server, so that's going to prove a bit additional challenge. Just some cars to watch out for here. The car we're currently looking at, the number 129, that is Aidan Larson, one of the most accomplished drivers in BUSR Assetto Corsa history. 36 races and 6 wins, 14 podiums, has won student class championships, highest point scorer in AC history for BUSR in his very locally themed livery, shall we say, of the Dress Up Darlings team. His are one of the leading teams for the Constructors' Championships. These early favourites are as we start to get some lap type cars coming towards the line for their first laps. Obviously, these laps are not representational. They are about 10 seconds slow because they're out of the pit lane. So please ignore this early order, even though, everyone goes, oh, is that important? Not really. Their first sectors are well down because they were leaving the pit lane. Another one of our notable cars there, the number 33, driven by Jack Noller, new to Assetto Corsa in the BUSR this year. But some people may recognise his name from real life racing. He does British Racing Sports Car Club, which is the BRSCC's Mazda MX-5 Cup, and has won races in that. So an accomplished driver in a front-engined rear-wheel drive sports car, which should prove helpful here in the sim world.
I would say it'll be interesting to see how he gets on with this slightly modified Toyota GR86. I believe it's packing bit more of a punch than the MX-5s he's used to driving, but be interesting to see where he comes in the qualifying order.
Definitely, he's one of those drivers to look out for. A relative unknown in BUSR, never done any races with us before, but we're very glad to have him in our open class. Just a reminder, we have different classes here in the BUSR. We have the red bannered car, like that pink one in front there. Those are the student classes. That is our main class. Those are the ones that get the biggest prizes. I say biggest prizes, there aren't any prizes, but they're the class that has usually the strongest entry, and a lot of our champions overall come from that. In the blue class, we have got, I believe that is the open. It's either open or alumni, and the other one is the green one, but I've forgotten which way around it is, so we'll come back to that when I've remembered. Here's another one of our cars to watch out for, Josh Woolley, perennial runner-up in BUSR history, also in charge of the entire league, so there's some irony there. He is Aiden's teammate in the number 24 car, came ever so close to the student championship last time out, but couldn't quite get it. And there we have the gauntlet has been set there by Raul Yagas at a 1:38.119. We expect to see lap times drop by another second and a half for pole position, but it's a good start from Raul, who had some excellent performances last time out in his Hyundai TCR car.
As you watch some of these drivers on the opening laps, one thing that I can't help but notice is they're really pushing. It's not like they're really trundling about, warming the tyres up. I believe a couple of drivers that we've just seen on the broadcast, you can see them taking it right to the limit of the track, mounting those curves into turn 11 there onto the start-finish straight. And I can't wait to see how tight it's going to be at the front.
It's definitely going to be a tight one. I've had confirmation that Jack Noller is an alumni, so the green bannered cars are our alumni cars, like this one here, the number 3, Adam Bent, the perennial series organizer, overall overlord and dictator of the Assetto Corsa races. He got his fabled, much alluded but never achieved first podium there last year. We've got our first lap time in the 1:37s. Josh Woolley comes and knocks it straight out of the park, 0.8 of a second clear of Raul Yagas. He knew he was going to be at the front. Him and Aidan Larson had some cracking battles in the pre-season tests at Donington Park and Lime Rock Park, but Andrea Ruggi, a new driver for the series, goes even faster by just 9/1000. So this is already looking like it's going to be a very close qualifying session. Jack Noller coming out of the last corner, one of those drivers to watch in that pink liveried car, comes towards the line. Where are they going to fall? Cross the line straight to pole position, immediate provisional pole there. A 1:37.257 puts them ahead of Ruggi and Woolley and Goldsmith by just, well, that's 600ths of a second in front, which is a good start for that new driver to the league.
Yeah, 700ths of a second separating the top 3 there. That's very impressive consistency from the guys out there.
And that is what we love about these cars, is that spec cars have their advantages. Everyone loves the variations of other cars, but someone like Aidan Larson, who didn't quite have the pick of the bunch last time out, is going to love his spec car. Although I say that, he's only qualified in 15th. That was not an optimal lap time from him, just over the 1:40 boundary. We are expecting much better from him going forward, so I expect he'll now start to push on this next lap to set even faster sector times, to push right the way towards the front. I mean, he's a proven driver, Aidan Larson. He's done very well in the Ginettas. He did very well in the Audis back in last year's summer season. So I expect we'll see him properly coming through with his next few laps. But who knows for now what's going to happen in this session.
And just looking at the live timing here on my screen, it seems that a lot of the top 5 aren't really setting any better sectors. So have we already seen the lap times peak? I see a purple sector down for Aidan Larson in 15th, so can he throw the gauntlet to Jack Noller and Andrea Ruggi at the top? Who knows?
Yeah, in previous seasons we have seen early pole laps stand for the whole session, but equally it depends how confident the drivers are feeling. This is a difficult technical track as we come down that start-finish straight, so they may well not quite know what they're doing just yet. P7 for Summer across the line, nice lap from them, 1:38.8, another rookie in the season running that very nice Panasonic livery there, throwback to some Toyotas of old, particularly Le Mans cars and other GT cars. Aidan Larson now, this is the driver we've been watching. We know he can improve. He was set purple sector 1, green in sector 2, is a good chunk ahead on our timing sheets as he comes around the last corner, called last corner, and up towards the line they go, foot to the floor. All 310 horsepower sends them up the timing sheets. They go to 4th place for Aidan Larson, a 1:37.393, just behind Woolley and then just behind Ruggie. So that means we now have the top 4, are all our top 5 actually, if you include Adam Sparrow, are all in the 130, low 137s. You could even chuck Owen Goldsmith in there in the under 137.5 bracket. That means we have 6 cars who are all within easy contention for pole position as the session evolves. And just a word, Jack Noller has set purple sector 1 and purple sector 2, so that gap at the front could even be extending further on here. We join on with the number 33 man somewhere around the back end of the lap, coming around the turn number 9, I believe that is, of Hobbs towards Mike Knight corner number 10. This is a nearly 90-degree right-hand corner that fires you towards the last corner, trying to carry as much speed as he can. Lovely cinematic camera there, shows you how much the car moves on the suspension with the setups these guys are running. Down towards the start-finish straight, he's already top of the session, and another lap time is going to come in right now, and there it is, a 136.6, extends that gap massively at the front. There is the response. Aiden got close, Ruggie got close, Wooly got close when Jack Noller went absolutely not, and sets a blistering lap time. The first into the 136s, one of the fastest lap times we've seen across all practice sessions previously to this. I expect big things from Noller, but can anybody catch them?
He has really thrown down the gauntlet there. I do not see anyone so far even coming close to that lap time. So 136.6, that's a heck of a lap to beat.
Yeah, nice big margin there. Sam Knight in the pits, currently in 27th. Not managed to set a lap time yet. Might be having some problems, but of course, the car is an open pit lane. The cars can come and go as they please, and with the advantages being sim, they can just jump there. Another driver we've had, returning driver, is Ben Gilroy. Any of you who ever watched or raced in the Assetto Corsa Competizione races will know Ben Gilroy. He completes the Our Dress Up Darlings team as the third car, 343. He's done 2 Assetto Corsa races, has won both of them, got 2 podiums and 87 points. So 87 points from 2. Massive skid out of the last corner, straight into the pit wall head first. That is definitely not the optimal racing line from Ben Gilroy, but better of our ACC champion, Owen Goldsmith. Current defending champion he is. The overall, not overall champion last year, but definitely class champion in that number 11 car with a lovely gold numbers. That's how you know he's current defending champion. Comes towards the line, wasn't improving on any point of that lap. I think this is now actually that was an out lap, hence the lack of improvement. Coming down towards turn 1 for Owen, he goes into that first corner, aptly named first corner, which doubles back on itself on the run down to the difficult, almost double apex corner of Williams there, cutting lots of curb, trying to take the corner as best he knows how into my favourite section of the circuit, the Moss S. Here we go, flick it right and then flick it back left again before braking hard for outward curve of turn 4. And then put the power down. These cars have got a good amount of grunt in them, a lot more than they had from the factory, thanks to our BUSR magicians. Down the back straight he goes through the first sector. Owen is looking pretty decent, but nothing spectacular from him. He's still down on his personal best. He needs to claw back some lap time if he wants to break into the top 5. Hard on the brakes, into the hairpin, one of the tightest corners on the calendar, let alone the track. Now into the turn 6 of Revolver, flick it down the hill. Lots of camber there, you know how to use it, runs very wide. Maybe that might have been lap time flagged, not quite sure about that. Coming through turn 7 of Piper, onto this middle straight, under the NK bridge, brake just after the 50 board, down into the Redmond hairpin, which runs straight into the next hairpin of turn 9, which is Hobbs. That double section is a really crucial point to learn how to defend through there, because if you get your line right, you're basically an unpassable wall of Toyota. And then into the penultimate corner, Mike Knight, just past the pit entry, Owen Goldsmith goes. He's doing well, but not improving, so this is unlikely to be an improvement in time for him, unless his last sector was magical as he comes across the line. And that is 1 lap of Okayama circuit there in the books for Owen Goldsmith. Not an improvement, at the very least, so he's got some room to make up going forward. Brakes aglow on that glorious Toyota.
To be honest with you, I'm still scratching my head as to how Jack Noller has pulled that time out of the bag, because I do not see any improvements going up and down the grid as we look at second place man Andreas Ruggie in the number 32. Love that livery, by the way. But he doesn't seem to have a reply for Jack Noller, nor does anyone else in the field. And I think Jack Noller has accepted that pole position, come back to the pits, doesn't seem to be heading out anytime soon. And dare I say it, that looks good for for pole position for the time being.
It definitely looks good for provisional pole position. Ruggie is one of our new drivers. He's a part of the World Races team, hence the WRT logo, not to be confused with the pre-existing BMW WRT team. Is an Italian driver, never raced with us before, but so far has shown very good results to stick it on second place. And there is nothing stopping a dive bomb into turn one for the Italian man. An improvement there for Igor Vazivlev puts them higher up, but nowhere near our front-running cars. Yeah. As was said by my co-commentator Tom, not seeing any major improvements from the front, really half of the grid. So some people below are improving. We see improvements for Adam Bent coming through on our timing, but no one seems to be making any progress towards that ultimate 1:36.6 lap time. Ruggie's already nearly 4/10 down, 5/10 down with that little twitch there. So it's unlikely we're going to see anything coming. We have still got 6 minutes. Pretty much every car is still circulating, apart from our current pole position holder, Jack Noller, and Owen Goldsmith, who is just having a little think.
And with the track temperature up at almost 30 degrees, I really don't see how anybody who's not just come out the pits on a cool, new, fresh set of tyres is going to be improving, because let me tell you from experience, if you're busy ragging a car around right to the edge of adhesion, those tyres are not lasting you more than 5 laps around this Okayama circuit.
Definitely, with that additional power, these GR86s are not going to be the kindest on their tyres. Wooly knows all about being kind to tyres. He's raced with us for many, many, many seasons now. Gets his front end chopped off there by another one of the cars. That was Adam Bent. Those two good friends in real life, and they've already had a crash, and we are only 15 minutes into the session. What could possibly go wrong when your two leaders of the league smash into each other in qualifying? Welcome to the BUSR, everyone. We're very happy to have you here with us. Wooly coming towards the line, well down his personal best, especially with that contact there. Improvement in the second sector, but all for nothing. He's going to have to go again if he wants to get close to Noller's pole time. 5 minutes to go, quarter of the session left, and we have our 2 races. Remember, race 2 is a reverse grid, so that will add to the carnage.
Definitely looking forward to race 2, and I will say it's just as well that we're not running open wheelers around here. That would have been a monumental shunt going into the second to last corner of the race circuit. I think drivers just trundling around now, looking to pick up lap experience more than anything else, and fill your boots when a lap time like Jack Noller's has been put down, that 1:36.680. Apologies. But yeah, just drivers looking to get some more laps under their belt. Still pushing to the edge of the track as we see Josh Woolley set almost his personal best first sector, but still nothing for our poleman Jack Noller.
Yeah, he's been in the pits now for most of the session. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's pretty confident with that lap time, and he knows that he doesn't really need to improve it. It's 0.636 seconds clear of Ruggie in third. It's a second, sorry, and then another little chunk back to Josh Woolley in third. He's got to be the favourite going into the first race. Kessler there pulls out a 1:38.2. That is a decent lap time from them, gets them up into the top 15. A good driver from the last few seasons. But as we've seen, pace in qualifying of session 1 does not make you a champion, and contrary to popular BUSR law, you cannot also lose the championship in qualifying for round 1. You can certainly lose some confidence, you can lose some ego, you can lose some time and some patience, but unless you break your wheel, you're not going to lose the championship. So nothing to worry about for our front runners. There are points for qualifying, I believe, for the top 6, so those will come into effect, but they're very minor compared to the points earned in a race. But it would be good to get some points on the board for our championship favourites, just, if nothing else, but for that confidence, for that ego, just going, look, I'm faster than you and I'm this many seconds clear.
Yeah, picking up on your point there about it's not over in qualifying, especially remember with this reverse grid that we have coming up later. If you have the fortune of having a thick wall of Toyotas behind you in that race and qualifying, well, starting near the front of the reverse grid race, who knows, the fortunes might turn in your favour.
Exactly, and we've seen in the past you can get collisions and all sorts of spins and crashes and multi-car pile-ups very rarely, but they do happen. So There is advantages to starting at the front, but there are equally advantages to starting further back. We could see someone from that mid-pack come through, maybe someone like Archie O'Leary, Luke Sawyer, Kessus, Adam Ben, Igor come through and win in that second race. So definitely have a chance of a podium. Very wide for Aidan Larson as he tries to improve. Currently running about on pace with his best lap time, despite that off in the gravel. So if he can find just a little bit more pace in the last 2 sectors, then he is on with a good chance at getting an improvement. He only needs a small improvement to catch up to Ruji, so that's definitely his target there as Woolley comes across the line. Not an improvement for him, but very close to his current personal best that has put him second. Aidan Larson round the last corner, running slightly behind his personal best on our timing sheet, so it's unlikely to be an improvement unless he can find anything magical or presses the unknown NOS button, comes towards the line. No improvement for him, I believe, as he goes across the line. There it is, yes. No improvement for Aidan, but very, very close. So there's a lot of consistency in the front half of the pack.
And Ruji on the timing sheets looks to be up in the first sector. Interesting to see if he can get it across the line to snatch second place away from Josh Woolley. What's the lap time as he comes across the line? And I don't think it was an improvement. Speaking of improvements, Aidan Larson 22.6 in the first sector. That's a purple first sector for him. Let's see what he can do to challenge Jack Noller. This is the first time since Jack set that exceptionally quick lap time that we've seen the first sector be beaten. So let's see as he comes down into the hairpin of turn 5, into the 90-degree turn 6 of Revolver, and the second 90-degree left-hander of Piper. Little slide out of there as he banks it in and runs a little bit wide, and that will be track limits and track invalidated, I'm afraid. It showed so much promise, but unfortunately a small mistake can cost you a lot at this Okayama circuit.
Yeah, that is pole lap attempt ruined there. Woolley coming towards the line. He is majorly down on his personal best lap time on our timing at least, so definitely not going to be an improvement for him. We're now into the last 23 seconds, so these are the final laps. Noller will not set another one. He is quite happily been in the pit lane now for over 10 minutes. Sparrow in 6th, also in the pit lane, as is John B, Luke Sawyer, and a couple of our other drivers. They are done for the session. The clock ticks down now. Basically every car that comes towards the line is their final chance. Owen Goldsmith green in sector 1, but had a pretty miserable sector 2, means that they're pretty much out of the race, out of the fight for pole as well. Ruji very wide out of the last corner, massive slide from the car behind there, but keeps it all in check. Ruji comes towards the line. Can they beat their personal best of 137.3? No, it's a 137.8. That is Andrea Ruji in the pit lane, done and dusted for their qualifying session. Aidan Larson, one of probably 2 or 3 drivers that has even a chance of getting pole position. Raul Llagas comes across the line to set their second best lap of the session, but not good enough for an improvement, of course. They stay in 9th place in that very pretty pink and gold liveried car there. Here we go. Bailey very, very wide out of the last corner. They don't improve any positions there after the 20. They're in 21st place. Oh no, they do, sorry. They do jump up to 18th place across the line. Sorry, that was an error in our timing there. And then puts it in the gravel. Nice thing, he gets out of the way. Good lap from them. Here we have Josh Hughes, one of the trio of Hugheses that we always get in our BUSR Assetto Corsa races. He comes across the line to find a small improvement, but nothing of note. Here we go. Woolley, our last contender. He is up on his delta through sector 2, but probably not enough to stretch his advantage to catch up to Noller. Where's the lap time? There's the line. Breaks the beam. Is a new best from Woolley, but is still just under half a second back from Jack Noller. That was pretty much our last chance of pole position, being snuck away there from the pool-based man. Woolley, that is his qualifying session done. Aidan comes towards the line. He's ever so slightly green. He improves his time, but not his position. 137.339 for him. Those is all of our front 6 have all finished their laps, and that is qualifying over. And the unknown in the league, but the known in real life racing, MX5 race winner, and also now BUSR pole position holder Jack Noller sets pole with a very impressive time of a 136.6. That number 33 car fired there with about 8 minutes of the session done, let alone to go, and has sat in the pit lane since. Must be feeling very smug for himself. Behind him is the number 24 car of Woolley, and then Ruji, Larson, Goldsmith, Sparrow, Quicks, Dystopian, Ben Gilroy, and then Raul Llagas finishes out that top 10. But what a lap from Noller.
Indeed, it is almost like his real-world experience has translated there into his sim experience. So, can this half a second deficit in qualifying translate to the race for Jack Noller? Well, that's for us to find out, and you are going to have a very, very interesting race on our hands. Let's see how much he can bridge that gap to second place.
Definitely. He's got a 20-minute race plus one lap. You can never forget about that last lap, that plus one lap. Once the clock hits zero, there's still one more to go. Don't worry. Don't do any skids over the line. You will look like a silly Billy. All the cars will be on a standing grid for the start. We've got 27 cars qualified on the grid. So that is one of the largest grids we've ever had in the BUSR. So that's really great to see. If you'd like to join us, feel free to join us in the future for AC, LMU or Formula One races. But it is Jack Noller who took that pole position ahead of series veteran Josh Woolley and a second rookie in Andrea Rudi, then Aidan Larson and Owen Goldsmith complete that top five. It's going to be interesting. There is also the consideration of the reverse grid where 10th place becomes pole, first becomes 10th and through. So that is a consideration these drivers are going to have to make of, do I fight for position? Do I fight for the points, or do I fight for that pole position on race 2 if you're at the back end of the top 10 or maybe in the high teens? As someone who drove last season, I can tell you that you don't care about that pole position. You want the points and you'll deal with the consequences of not being on the front row if it comes to it. But somebody who's new to the series might bring a newer perspective, a new opinion, and might go for something a bit different.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't imagine that in real life the MX5 Championship, which I'm slightly familiar with, has any reverse grid races. So let's see what Jack Noller will think of this reverse grid race. Let's see how many cars he can slalom through. And on the point of getting experience through qualifying, only 5 laps for Jack Noller to set that lap time, and just sat in the pits. That's half of what most of the drivers did. So is that going to cost him in the race? I don't believe so. It looks like he's done his practice, looks like he's done his homework, but that all stays to remain seen in this first race.
Definitely, and I can tell you that in practice is really useful, if nothing else, but for learning where you fit in the order. You see which cars you're catching rapidly on your hot laps, and you learn how to overtake, you learn where to defend, maybe not defend, but you learn how to get out of the way of the faster cars and where's the best places to defend. You also learn what the track conditions are like in the server. Occasionally the temperature does shift between practice and qualifying and the races. So it's good to know that warm track means you can push harder here, but have to be more conservative there, and where you can push. Corners to watch out for with your tyres are the turn 3 and 4 of Moss and Atwood, because they can be very hard and you need to keep them in a good position for the next, well, really rest of the lap with all of the very tight, windy sections of Sector 2 and Sector 3. So that's a key consideration. The cars are on the grid now. We'll be going to our first race imminently, round 1 of the season. I'm really looking forward to this. My prediction is going to be with Jack Noller. His qualifying lap was way too clear for me to bet anywhere else.
I would have to agree with you there, Dan. That's pretty unanimous from us, I believe. And you know, they say the qualifying times don't lie, the stopwatch never lies, and in this case, I can certainly see that being the case.
Definitely. I mean, we could see something a little bit messy into turn 1. Could see an amazing start from Josh Woolley. Standing starts, like I said, is basically just put your foot down and press the gear selector when the lights go green. But it's a tight first corner and a decently long run in these cars. They're not particularly high on horsepower. They're not like a GT3 car or a prototype. They've only got 340 horsepower. So they'll get to turn 1 pretty quickly, but there's a lot of time to have a little wiggle around, have a think, have a look, have a lunge. Maybe we'll see a turn 1 overtake. Maybe we'll see a turn 1 pile up. We'll have to find out when the cars go racing in just one moment. Yeah, some other words on some other drivers to watch out for. I think someone like Adam Sparrow is a bit of a dark horse. Also an MX5 racer, races with Jack Noller, so has the experience. Can they find some pace in the race and maybe push forward past Goldsmith and Larson, who have no real race experience? Quite possibly, maybe someone like Dystopian or Quicks were very fast in the Spring Series and the TCR cars. So maybe we'll see a change for some of our BUSR regulars versus our real world life rookies.
I'd be very excited to see what's going to happen with the 10th place spot as we cut to the grid.
Yes, cars are on the grid. The counter clocking itself down towards that magical 20-minute mark. Or towards the 20-minute mark, and then they'll go green at 20 minutes. and then we'll have a 20-minute race, because that's how this all works. We've got lights on at Okayama GP circuit for round 1 of the BUSR Summer Series in Assetto Corsa. Owen Goldsmith is pole on the timesheet, but it's Jack Noller who's pole in real life. It's lights out, and away the Toyotas go down towards turn 1, cutting straight across the front end there. There's contact between Woolley and Rugi on the second row, but the green and pink car of Noller led into turn 1. They're 3 or 4 wide towards the back of the pack. There's lots of bumping, a couple cars running very, very wide. Noller holds the lead. Rugi and Woolley side by side for second place. There's cars all over the shop, but everyone appears to have gotten through reasonably quickly. Only some light bumps, but Noller has got the demon start from the front row. Already pulled out an 8-second advantage. Woolley has managed to just about hold on to second place from Rugi. I think maybe it's unclear was they going around that last corner which of these 86s is in the lead as they come over the hill. It is the dress-up darlings car of Woolley ahead of the World Racing Team Rugi car. Aidan Larson manages to keep it in 4th, but they are very, very close behind. Jack Noller pulls out an impressive lead. Woolley has also managed to pull clear. Here we go, side by side, all the way through from about 3rd down to about 15th. There's nose-to-tail contact between Aidan Larson and Dystopia and Owen Goldsmith. It's not the greatest of looks, but luckily damage is not severe or even turned on, so they can all carry on going side by side with the number 11 and the number 129 cars. Those two, both accomplished BUSR racers, and Goldsmith goes through. Aidan Larson dropping places more than they would like. Dystopian has snuck up into 4th place. Just a word on them. There's a dive bomb up the inside there for the 242 car, who gets completely spun out. That is Quicks in the wall. They have dropped massively. There's contact behind as well. That was the Subaru liveried car. There's another one of the Liverpool cars going up the inside of Quicks there. They have dropped like a stone. That is the brutality of what is essentially touring car racing, but with coupes. Coming into the last pair of corners there at the end of lap 1. Jack Noller has a healthy advantage over Josh Woolley, who has an even healthier one over Andrea Rugi. Then it is Dystopian with a great start to get past Owen Goldsmith. Ben Gilroy, Adam Sparrow, Raul Yagas, Aidan Larson dropped well outside of the top 10. They must have had another shunt that we didn't see. Here we go, Sparrow right behind Ben Gilroy, the 3rd of the dress-up darling cars in that very striking and obviously locally themed Japanese livery, shall we say, for the pink car there. Adam Sparrow, got to worry about Raul Yagas behind. He is a quick driver. Lacked that consistency last year, but gained it back. Let's see if he's managed to do any practice on his consistency now. More contact going on up and down the grid, but right now we're watching Adam Sparrow chase Ben Gilroy for 6th place.
Absolute chaos there at the back of the grid, with cars really tripping over each other, as we predicted, as the 6 goes up there of Jordan Pinnock alongside Luke Sawyer for 12th position, coming into the hairpin at the end of the back straight, which is where we saw so much of this chaos start on the first lap, with cars basically crashing into each other in sympathy more than anything else, chopping the nose off there slightly of the 502 as he does get the move completed. But a lot of quick drivers there dropped down in those first lap incidents, so we might have a mini reverse grid on our hands towards the bottom end of the top 20.
Yeah, the biggest loser there's got was someone like Aidan Larson. He's currently running in 22nd place. Absolute nightmare for that driver. He didn't do much of last season, but what he did do, he did very well, and so we know he's got the pace. Gets up past the rookie of Darzai, who dive bombs up the inside at the second of the 2 hairpins. Very, very bold move. A little bit of door banging between the 2 there. Everyone comes away reasonably cleanly. Blistering lap times at the front for our front pair, Noller and Woolley, who keep running. But right now, Aidan Larson trying to make moves. We know better. We expect better from him. Up the inside through the last corner he goes. That is probably clean through now. Got a little bit of a gap ahead to Barjam, and then Thomas Cannon and Zalia. So he's now inside the top 20. That is not a place where Aidan Larson wants to be. He wants to be inside the top 5, realistically the top 3, if he's going to mount that championship attack that we know he can do. And for the teams, Adam Bent, I believe that was, on the grass up the inside there, not the optimal racing line. These are not actually rally cars, despite what that Subaru livery might have you imply. Here's Luke Sawyer, another very accomplished F1 racer, come to join us in the land of the roofed and well, I suppose bodied cars with these coupes up the inside. A little bit of side-to-side contact with Jordan Pinnock, a series veteran he is, and slots right back in behind him underneath the Lexus bridge, down towards the 200-meter braking board at the end of the big long back straight in towards the turn 5 hairpin. We go. Luke Sawyer on the brakes late, just rolls off them, keeps it reasonably clean, tiny puff of smoke, but gets through on Jordan Pinnock. Very nice move for Luke Sawyer. This is the battle for 11th place, so not quite reverse grid pole position. That is currently being held by the bright blue car of Quicks up ahead. Can they catch up? You've got to think they're going to make an attempt. Luke Sawyer, a rapid driver and definitely on for a chance of reverse grid pole position. Just a word on Aidan Larson. He has got past Thomas Cannon, is now chasing, and just got past actually Zalia, and is now chasing Oh no, continue the side-by-side contact there between the two cars. But here we go, Aiden Larson round the outside of the number 56 car. There we go, sealing that place off pretty well. Got to defend from quite a few cars behind. That's Bailey they've just got past. Now they're running up onto the back of the 16th place in 999 car of Bajam.
Yeah, blistering work there from Aiden Larson. If you remember last lap, looking onto the start-finish straight, there was a huge gap in front of him. He was all the way with those cars at the back there coming through the last corner. But back up at the front, there seems to have been a breakaway from the top 5, a gap of 3.5 seconds now to Ben Gilroy in 6th place. As Josh Woolley, for the first couple of laps, was keeping pretty decent tabs on Jack Noller, but the gap has opened up slightly to around about 1.5 seconds. But all smooth running at the front, and really it looks like it'll be the battle for the reverse grid pole, which is hotting up at the minute.
Definitely Ben Gilroy there in 6th place, but here we have that fabled battle for reverse grid pole. Quicks in that blue car. We know they're rapid, raced in the Honda, in the TCRs, has been with us for many seasons at the BUSR. They're looking up the back of Summer, which is, they're a complete noob to the series. We've never had them before here, but they're showing very good pace, putting in the top 10 in their debut. A little bit wide for Quicks, that beautiful blue and sort of tealy turquoise coloured car there, chasing down the Panasonic car of Summer in 9th place. A new driver, like I said, we've got a lot of rookies on the grid this year, and we're very happy to have them. And if you think you could be another one, we'd be happy to have you. The Daffodil Racing car of some of those still leading ahead of Quicks at the back end of the top 10. Quicks might be thinking here, maybe I'll just wait. Maybe I'll just take the reverse grid pole and go into race 2 at an advantageous position. I highly doubt it, though, given that his name is literally Quicks. So surely his desire should always be to go Quicks. A little bit of kicking on start-finish straight, though.
And bit of a gap behind him now, 2.5 seconds back to Luke Sawyer there in 11th place. So really, if Quicks wanted to keep this 10th place, this prestigious reverse pole, then really he best not to fight with the likes of Summer and Kessler in front, but that remains to be seen.
Aiden Larson has caught up to the back of the 999 car of Bajam. They're going to make this move reasonably quickly. His best lap time is 2 seconds clear. So there we go, up the inside, has a look, has a think about it, doesn't quite make the commitment. So that isn't the 999 car, that's the 55 car of, I think it is still Bajam, but our timing, she evidently showing the wrong number for that car, which is so dreadfully helpful of it. We love you, Assetto Corsa, but you could do with some work. But never mind, as we go down towards the big, tight, heavy braking zone at the end of this massive long straight, but the gap just extending. Aiden Larson heavy on the brakes, suspension compressing under that force, glowing brake discs, looking very cool on the 129 car. Not been able to make the progress Aiden was expecting, but his target is very much going to be reverse grid pole now. Shocking start for the Aussie. We know we can do better. That's the main thing. We know he can do better. We know he's got the pace on the cars in front. His last lap was significantly quicker than anybody until at least the top 10, if not the top 8. So he's got that pace in him. He just needs to get through the traffic of the cars ahead.
Not too big a gap to the 10th place Summer now. About 7 seconds is the gap, so it needs to clear this traffic, as you say, Dan, and then he should be home and away. As you see, the back end of the top 10 there going into turn 1. That's the gap that he needs to catch as he goes up the inside. No. Nose cut off into the turn 1 braking zone. As there's a spin, maybe locking of the rear brakes there, but either way you do it, Aiden Larson up into 15th place.
There's another move made for Aiden. He's now inside the points. Points in the BUSR go down to 15th. They're only 1 at that point, but it's still 1 point, which is 1 more point that he had 1 lap ago. Here we have the Subaru car up the inside of Jordan Pinnock. That is Luke Sawyer and Jordan. They've been fighting all race for 11th place, the one that is just outside of reverse grid pole, which is just up the road. They can just about see it ahead of them, I think. So they will be hoping and praying that this goes well. They're side by side down the big back straight. Up the inside, Luke Sawyer goes on Jordan Pinnock. Excellent racing from these two, both very respectful. One of them does F1, one of them does AC, and now they both do AC together as they go down towards the double 90 left-hander. Very wide for Jordan Pinnock, not got the optimal line. Sawyer with the inside, that Subaru livery pushing wide the number 6 car. They're side by side still. Actually, Jordan managed to run it around the outside, hold the speed a little bit better to reclaim 11th place. These two have been fighting for a while now, so they you. They're starting to learn how each other works. We come up towards that half distance time frame. Remember, we have got that +1 lap at the end, so it's not quite half distance, but the clock is about halfway complete now. Jordan seems to have sealed that position, at least for now, but of course the slipstream is very powerful down this very, very long first straight between turns 11 and turn 1. So we can see there's cars weaving all over just for that little bit of aerodynamic benefit. Down towards turn 1 we go. Lovely pairs forming up here. Will we see a move for Sawyer into the braking zone? No, too far back for that. Has to come at them another time. Maybe they might gain or lose some time in the gaps between turn 1 and the outward curve of turn 4, your next real break overtaking opportunity. But even still, you might be focusing more on the hairpin at the end of the main straight.
Very respectful racing there between Pinnock and Sawyer, I must say. Car's width was left at every single opportunity, and eventually it was a very good move around the outside for Jordan Pinnock. As we look at Aidan Larson continuing on his fight back up to the top 10, it's now just under a second gap to Archie O'Leary in front, I believe, who he needs to clear as soon as possible, because then it is that 5-second gap onto the battle we were just watching. Now, I don't believe Jordan Pinnock and Luke Sawyer are going to open the door and let Aidan Larson through, given his pace. So it really remains to be seen just how quickly Aidan Larson can clear O'Leary and catch up to these two.
Definitely. Just a word on that. Aidan Larson and Jordan Pinnock know each other very well. They work together, so they raced, and they will also raced together for many years, sometimes as teammates, sometimes as rivals. So they will both know exactly how the other one races. They've both been in all of our practice sessions and our pre-season tests, so they've had experience with these cars and experience of these cars with each other around them. So don't expect it to be easy. But Archie O'Leary is also a series regular. He's been here for donkey's years. I say donkey's years, so he'll be doing this for 2 years in Assetto Corsa. But even still, a very experienced racer, not an unknown for Aidan. Will that allow him to be slightly more confident? Quite possibly. Let them push a little bit harder, let them dive bomb. Not dive bomb a little bit more, but go for a later lunge than they might have done on an unknown rookie driver. Down the start-finish straight we go. We've only got 8 minutes to go. The lead battle is pretty much, it looks pretty stable, pretty set at the front between our top, oh, I don't know, near enough top 10 at this point. But this gap here for 13th and 14th is very close. Aidan's last lap was faster than Archie's, but Aidan was in free air for most of it, so closed up a lot in sector 1 and 2, with their sector 3 was basically identical between the two of them. The Liverpool University driver running away from the dress-up darlings, 129, pink car here. We know Aidan can push forward, but these cars are getting, with every overtake, it gets harder and harder to make that progress. And in the back of his mind, he'll know that if he wants to score a race win today, he needs to get to 10th place in the next 7.5 minutes.
And he has to pick up the pace, if I'm being perfectly honest, to catch that 10th place. He's only matching Summer in 10th place on that last lap, so the quicker he clears O'Leary, the better, really. And to be honest, it looks like O'Leary might have him bottled up for yet another lap, unless he can make a dive into turn 8. But turn 1 is if I was a betting man, I would bet that turn 1 is where Aidan puts this move down the inside.
Definitely. He's at this point, you don't have to play it safe, but playing it safe is always easier than going for a ridiculously risky move that's likely to take you both out. These guys get on well. They're good friends, so they're not going to want to absolutely decimate each other into the braking zone and ruin each other's chances of any sort of success today. Here we go, already out of the slipstream, powering past down the main straight. Aidan Larson goes there side by side. Aidan with the inside line. Lovely, respectful racing. Nice gaps given. No contact, I don't think, between them there. So they've kept it nice and clean through turn 1. Aidan makes up the place. Now just has to slowly build that gap and catch up to Luke Sawyer. Last lap round, Luke Sawyer did a 1:38.9. Aidan did a 1:37.8. So he's got the pace for it. Jordan Pinnock, however, driver we expect a lot from, doesn't seem to be doing. Well, it seems to have pulled away from Luke Sawyer, actually, sorry. Now caught up to the Summer, and I believe that's Kessa's fight for 9th and 10th. So a little bit of moving around there. Contact between the two, between Summer and Cassis, front to rear there. The 26 car leading the Alien Attack branded 67 car, lovely retro. Android sort of feeling there on that car. Kessler's a well-known racer in this league. We know what they're like. We know what their racing is. It's hard. It's efficient and effective. So we'll have to see how they go about taking on some of this unknown rookie driver. Underneath the NK bridge, they go down towards the braking zone at about the 40-ish meter mark. On the brakes, Kessler's goes up the inside of Summer. This is for 9th and 10th. So Summer currently in that reserve of all this contact. Summer has to dive to the grass and escape there, letting Jordan Pinnock come up the inside. Side by side they go towards that left-hander. Jordan Pinnock sailing up the inside, which with it would bring him the reverse grid pole position. No contact made between the two, but it was very, very close. Luke Sawyer looming behind, ready to take over the scraps. And there's massive contact there across the nose. Both cars off, Summer and Jordan Pinnock, both heavily out into the wall, both bleeding time, bleeding positions. That allowed a bunch of cars to come through, most notably Luke Sawyer and Aiden Larson. There we go. He's now up into 11th place. That solved some of his problems. I'm going to be honest, he's benefited from that massively. No idea who's at fault from that camera angle. That's for the stewards to decide after the race. But P11 now for Aiden. Luke Sawyer up ahead in 10th. That's the gap he has to close. His last lap was significantly quicker than Sawyer's, but Sawyer was caught in a little bit of traffic, a little bit of battling. So we'll have to see if he can close it up with free air for both cars.
And Summer and Jordan Pinnock there both destroyed their chances of getting any sort of result out of this reverse grid race. That was, dare I say, a little bit silly and a little bit needless considering the championship as a whole. But it's the first round. You can't expect to write your season off after one incident. But Aiden Larson, he is the man of the moment there. Only 2 seconds behind 10th place Luke Sawyer now, and gaining on the 10th place driver lap after lap after lap. So he will be rubbing his hands looking to get that reverse grid pole.
Gained half a second in sector 2 alone. He is a man on a mission. His target is suddenly a lot closer than he thought, but so is the end of the race. We've got 3.5 minutes left. It's been such carnage. We've not quite had time to talk about how long we've got left, which is arguably a good thing. Aiden just kissing the apex of that penultimate corner now, and there's the final one. Just boop, and then off you go, foot flat to the floor, little twitch of the steering wheel, runs it out as wide as he dares without getting into the gravel and compromising. Across the start finish straight, probably about 3 laps to go, but can't quite tell because it depends where Jack Noller is, because of course he is the one still leading this motor race. There's the gap, Luke Sawyer ahead. Last time round, Aiden Larson was a good second and a half clear of Luke over the 4 laps. So Aiden just needs to do that lap time again and he'll close up massively. Aiden's even improving on this lap, so he's got the time in the bag to catch up. But as the great late Murray Walker said it's one thing catching a car, it's a whole different game going past them.
And considering this is for the pole position of race number 2, I expect a little bit of aggression there from Aiden Larson. So the gap is just under half a second now as we approach the braking zone of the turn 5 hairpin. That beautiful looking Subaru livery, well, he's going to have to slide to make that car as wide as possible to stop Aiden from getting through, I'm afraid. But on these Toyota GR86s, they're not rally cars, so let's see how much of a fight he can put up.
Yep, he's already up to the back of him. Lovely slide there from Aiden, well held, not optimal but very stylish, coming down underneath the bridge towards the next set of very, very tight corners. That's one of the hairpins here at Okayama GP circuit. What a wonderful show it is putting on. Unknown coming into the calendar, but doing very well regardless. They're now nose to tail. The gap well under a car length between these two. That is reverse grid pole position in blue and 11th place in pink. Aiden Larson chasing Luke Sawyer. He had a terrible start to the race, qualified at the front, has been fighting back, very much man of the match so far in terms of positions gained. Already out of the slipstream, coming out of the last corner. The cars are running side by side down the start finish straight. There's probably a little slipstream benefit for either of them at this point, but Aiden got the run, got the line on the brakes into the first corner. Sorry, they go just up the inside, nip and tuck. Luke Sawyer though has got the inside for turn number 2 of Williams. There's no contact, but there's very, very close to contact. No, there is contact, never mind. Little bit of banging there, front right to rear left between the two of them, but Aiden sneaks through. Luke Sawyer not giving up. Later on the brakes, he's going to try and go Yoda I am. There's door banging between them. Luke Sawyer pushes his way wide, knows his way around an F1 car, not done AC before, but evidently has learned very quickly that here we don't mess around, we just get on with it. Down the start finish, sorry, the big back straight they go. Aidan Larson's got the slipstream, pulls out as late as he dares to get maximum overspeed, 314 horsepower. On the brakes they go, up the inside for Aidan Larson, into the hairpin of turn 5. Heavy braking zone allows him to sneak on through. Now he's just got to hold it for the next 40 seconds and 1 lap.
Yeah, excellent racing between the two there. It was firm but fair from Luke Sawyer there. There was a little bit of door banging, but no love lost between the two, I'm sure.
Definitely only 2 laps to go, 20 seconds, and then that +1 bonus lap, as I'd expect, I assume. Not heard any differently from our series organisers regarding this series. Here we go, Aidan now into that reverse grid pole position. He now needs to build that gap. He's just got to keep putting in perfect sectors where possible. He is putting in pretty rapid lap times, roughly comparable with sort of the back end of the top 5, top 6, which is where he was at the start of the race. So he's basically exactly where he should be in terms of pace. 2 laps to go, confirmation from the game. That is good to know that I can do basic arithmetic for the series I've commentated on for over a year now. That's good to know. But yeah, Aidan, the car ahead is Kessus, who he is significantly faster than when at full speed. And even when overtaking, he's still faster. Last time round, Kessus did a 1:38.7. Aidan did a 1:37.6, I believe, unless my timing is wrong. But no, both are in the 1:38. Sorry, that's just updated. Stupid timing sheet. But still faster. Thank you for the. That's now broadcast on the screen for you all to see, and just realise how bad my reading skills are. Coming down the start-finish straight, he's gaining on Kessus, definitely making progress. That sector was an improvement for Aidan on his personal best. He was 4/10 faster than Kessus. The gap coming down and down and down and down. He might keep pushing for the points. He might think, right, I'm already going to qualify near the front. Let's go and prove to myself I can overtake these guys once, get the point, and then I'll overtake them again in race 2, which will be coming up shortly after the end of race 1, unsurprisingly.
And really, Kessus, really Kessus is the most realistic place that Aidan Larson will be able to get. That's P9. I apologise for the timing table looking a little bit odd there, putting Luke Sawyer up into first, but yeah, there we are. It sorts itself out. So really, unless he straps a Formula 1 hybrid V6 to the back of that car, there is no way that he is catching Quixie in P8. So P9 he will have to settle with. Yes, here we go, making the move. Leader is on the final lap. Luke Sawyer had a bit of an issue there, but Jack Noller well and clearly cleared out. But Aidan Larson is the man of the hour, sweeps round the outside. Amazing move from the Australian to go round number 67 Kessus alien attack car, the dress-up darlings, pink BUSR branded car there, sweeping round, making it look almost effortless. That is basically as good a recovery drive as Aidan could ask. The gap to Quixie up front is way too large for him to even really consider, with only a 3.7 kilometre lap and only 11 corners in which to gain any time. And he's already used a good chunk of it up. But there we go. That is Aidan Larson up to P9. He will start on the front row, assuming there is no more incidents or carnage. But here it is. Jack Noller, unknown coming into this in terms of sim racing, very much unknown. He has real-world experience, race-winning capabilities in BRSCC Master Cup racing. And now here he is in the Toyota GR86 Cup car for the BUSR, rounding out the last pair of corners in dominant fashion. Lights to flag victory. Never really looked in doubt, comfortably settled into a pace. Also has the fastest lap of the race by a good 3/10. Jack Noller is your winner of race 1 of the day at Okayama GP circuit for the BUSR Summer Series. Lights to flag win, very impressive. Josh Woolley, the perennial runner-up, is the perennial runner-up once more in second place, 3.5 seconds back then, had no answer to the front runners. But the unknown rookie of Andrea Ruggi also has an incredible race for the World Racing Team. And then Owen Goldsmith puts it in 4th place. Dystopian comes home in 5th. Ben Guro with a great start to his season in 6th. Adam Sparrow is 7th place, just ahead of Quixie there over the line, nose to tail for the two of them. Aidan Larson will come round any second now to confirm his P9. There it is, confirmed with the checkered flag. Kessus in P10 for that reverse grid pole position. Then Archie O'Leary in 11th place for Liverpool Sim Racing Team. Summer 12th, Jordan Pinnock 13th. BAJM will come across the line at some point in 14th. There they go. Rao Yagas, lovely pink livery, not the race they were hoping for, 15th. And then Josh Hughes, 16th. Luke Sawyer, who had a massive, was in the pit lane towards the end of the race there, I believe, which is why he finished down in 18th place. And yeah, that is the end of race 1. But Jack Noller won it in dominant fashion as we're getting the rest of the grid coming across the line. Bailey 17th, John B 18th, Thomas Cannon 19th,
Zalia 20th, Igor Vlasivlev 21st, Luke Sawyer coming across the line, still dropping places actually. Their race not going as planned. And that is the end of race number 1, and a great set of results. Points down to 15th, but the reverse grid pole position goes to Kessers and Jack Noller in first place. We're hearing that Luke Sawyer didn't even finish that race, so a disaster for him. But there we go, donuts just for funsies. We're still halfway through the race weekend, and we're popping out donuts already.
Yeah, brilliant victory there for Jack Noller. We barely saw him after turn 1, to be honest. So if you want a metric of how dominant a race that was, he was on screen for maybe a total of 8 seconds that entire race.
The true mark of domination is when they don't even know you're winning because you're so far ahead they don't bother showing you on the broadcast. Epic result for Jack Noller, really showing he is a force to be reckoned with. But don't go anywhere, we've still got race 2 of the day coming up after a short video from our sponsors. So just had some information come through there, but we'll get to that in a second. That was Gridfinder, our series sponsors. They are the organisers who help us to put on this event. It's all organised within, but they are the ones that sort of host us, if you like. So if you wish to come and join us, whether that's as a commentator, broadcast team in any way, production, or the social media, or whether you want to be out on track racing in our GR86 Cup cars, or maybe in Formula One, LMU, Richard Burns Rally, then come and join us at BUSR. You can find us online at Discord, on Facebook, on all sorts of social media platforms, and of course, this stream you found on YouTube. Otherwise, how are you watching this? But yes, just a word on Jack Noller. He turns out he has done BUSR racing, but never in AC. He was very near the front in ACC, so evidently has experience here before. Sorry for that slight mistake on my part. He joined well before my time.
Yep, and well before my time as well, considering this is my first broadcast. So yeah, again, excellent race. You can tell that he's this isn't his first rodeo, and especially considering his real life racing pedigree as well, it's no surprise that he's up towards the front. And I for one, I'm going to be super interested in how he gets on with this reverse grid race.
Definitely, we're going to see a lot more Aidan Larson style cutting through the traffic, I think, from pretty much all of that front 5. They know they were pretty solid in qualifying, all in the 37s, apart from Noller and the 36s. So they're all going to be sort of fighting each other while also fighting some of the guys from the back of the top 10, like Kessers, who has been shoved right to the front on that reverse grid pole position. The cars are getting lined up on the grid, ready to go for race 2. So don't go anywhere, because I can almost guarantee you that for all the action in race 1, there'll be twice as much action in race 2, because that's just how this goes. Reverse grid races are always that much fun. But yeah, a great 20 minutes coming up of the Okayama GP circuit. Kessers will take pole position ahead of Aidan Larson, and then Quicks, Sparrow, and then Gilroy, Dystopian, Goldsmith, and then Woolley, Noller, and Ruggie all at the back of the top 10. Some cars may get involved with those front runners, though, from behind. Some like the cars of Archie O'Leary, Summer, and Jordan Pinnock may get involved if they get a good start, which can even further drop down our leaders at the end of lap 1.
Yeah, and given the amount of carnage on lap 1 of race 1, I can tell you that maybe turn 1, maybe the first sector is going to claim some victims on this race. So
yeah, we're definitely not immune from that. Go on then. We have the 67 Alien Attack car there, a lovely retro game livery for Kessers. Always brings some great liveries to the table, does Kessers. And there is the slightly more locally themed, shall we say, anime girl on the side of Aidan Larson. The man of the hour in terms of overtaking action in race 1, really made that race as entertaining as possible for us. Past champion, so we know they've Quick. Here we have Quicks in the blue Positive Perception car, very rapid driver on their day, just a little bit unreliable sometimes, so we'll have to see if they can hold on to it. And then we're down at the back of the top 10 with Jack Noller and Josh Woolley out of position with where they should be, but that's because it's a reverse grid race, and that's how this works. Here we go, the red lights are coming on for round 2 of the BUSR Summer Series at Okayama GP. It's a rock and roll Let's Go Racing held on the lights quite long for there, maybe look a little bit awkward, but down we go towards turn one. There's weaving all over the place. Great start from Kessers, and Quicks behind Aiden Larson, already under pressure round the outside. Got the inside line though, manages to hold it pretty nicely to seal P2. Cars going 2 or 3 wide. There's cars off in the background. There's contact up and down the field as you'd expect. A little bit of nose to tail there. Nola going to basically use Woolley, I'd imagine, as a bit of a battering ram to push their way through the cars ahead, like Owen Goldsmith and like Andrea Ruggi. But they're all quick drivers, so it's going to see if we get any mistakes. This is very side-by-side contact. In fact, Archie O'Leary spearing off the track there. Their race done already. There's a car sideways. That's the 55 car of Summer, recovering massive crash. Multiple cars off in the background. That's a lot of cars all facing in not the correct direction and not rejoining particularly smoothly. Evie Raul Yagas got caught up in that. Kessa still leads. Aiden, though, chasing them down. They know they can overtake them. They did it not 5 minutes ago for P9. They've just got to go and do it again on a full tank of fuel. Remember, these cars have all been refueled between races. They were a lot lighter at the end of race 1 than they are now. The drivers having to put that in their mind. Nola going around the outside of that car there. I think that was, oh, we've got a red flag called. Series organizer Adam Bent has called the red flag. Too many cars crashed. That means we will restart the session in just 1 second. So lots and lots of carnage means we have to have a red flag, which is pretty expected for a race 2. I can't lie.
Yeah, absolute carnage there going through the Moss S's. They really kept crashing from the Moss S's all the way through to the exit of the Atwood curve. That's turn 4, the long right-hand hairpin. And really, that was about 6 or maybe even 7 cars that were involved in that incident, which is cause for the red flag. So let's get this underway. Once again, let's hope everyone can keep it more clean, and let's hope the Anime Girl liveried Aiden Larson gets through with his nose clean once again.
Yeah, just Kestis there must have hated that, because they've now got to do the race start all over again. They managed to hold Aiden Larson off at the start, but now it's completely been ruined. There are some cars just flicking around because of joining issues, so just let the grid be for a while. Quick is definitely, though, in 3rd place. Very, very pretty livery. I quite like that one. Not when I'm biased towards the blue as a Coventry student myself in any way there. They've got to redo their start as well. Adam Sparrow there. You can see that Mazda MX-5 logo just in front of the windscreen, just in front of the wing mirror there on his car. So they evidently still, just a little bit of a show off of what they do in real life. Nothing too big though, but definitely similar style of driving for Adam Sparrow and for our race 1 winner, Jack Noller. So they both know what they're doing. And then we have Dystopian in the other one of those blue cars, the number 01 race champion of last season, Ben Gilroy in the 343 car, returning to the AC grid. Owen Goldsmith, alumni champion, hence the gold number 11 on the side of that car. Always check on your happy friends. Just a good word of advice there you can read on the side of his car. Part of a team Bentski there, you can see on the front nose with Adam Bent as well, unsurprisingly given the name. A very, very rapid driver Owen is, and pretty decent overtaking, as we said, obviously like a champion. You kind of have to be. Andrea Ruggi, the unknown, still yet to see what he can do in race trim at the front end once I should imagine we'll see some good results for him coming forward. Part of that World Racing WRT team, the Italian, one of a few international drivers on our grid, which is really great to see. Josh Woolley there in P9, probably not too unhappy with the restart. Not an ideal start for him, but not too bad. Jack Noller there in 10th place, hoping to fight his way forward for that second race win of the day. We do occasionally get repeat winners, but it's not particularly common given the nature of the session. We're counting down 10 seconds to lights on for attempt number 2 of round number 2 of the BUSR Summer Series. We've got 3, 4, 5 red lights at Okayama, 6 red lights Okayama GP circuit. Rock and roll, let's go racing once more for attempt number 2 of round 2 of the season. Another really great start from Cash as Aiden comes sweeping across to try and stop Quicks. It's basically a carbon copy of last time. Let's hope that doesn't mean crashes as we come into turn 1. They're 3 or 4 wide towards the back of the pack, as we've come to learn is basically mandatory in this lot. There is some bumping further down the grid, but everyone seems to be going in roughly the right direction. The front 3 have all formed into a line already. That's just showing you how good those are at starts, but there's already moves. There's a cut 3 for Ben Gilroy looking at the inside of Dystopian there, having a think about it. Are they going to make a move? Jack Noller's going up the inside of both of them. There's side-to-side contact, then nose-to-tail contact, more side-to-side contact, but everyone's still, there's a car off in the background there. Couldn't quite tell which one it was, but let's carry on looking at this incredible battle. Raul Yakas there leading this little group, and then Owen Goldsmith and Jack Noller dropping a few positions. Evidently not the ideal run out of that corner. Ben Gilroy looking up the inside of Dystopian into the hairpin, makes it a double move. Very nicely done up the inside of Sparrow for Dystopian, who puts it up into the front end, but then there's contact between them all. Never mind. Who am I kidding? It's what we expect at this point. Quicks and Kessus and Aidan Larson, though, are loving life. They're right at the front, and they're all pretty happy doing keeping out of the way of danger, should I say. Aidan Larson is actually leading the motor race ahead of Kessus and Quicks, and then we have Andrea Ruggi, Adam Sparrow, and Ben Gilroy behind.
Yeah, terrible first lap there for Josh Woolley and Jack Noller, all the way down in 14th and 15th place for both of them. Not what they were hoping for. Caught up in that first lap accident, and I must say it was a little bit aggressive from some drivers there. It will be up to the stewards to decide who will be at fault there, as we see loads of cars running wide out of the last corner coming onto the start-finish straight. I can see this being a massive checkup coming into the first sector of lap number 2.
Yeah, we're always going to have little actually bumps, but we try and keep it as clean as possible. There goes Noller at the inside of Raul Llagas, will return to the outside for the next corner, so not ideal for them. They're going to go up and my Raul Llagas has given them lots of space. Evidently knows that they're not where their fight is. Woolley and Noller now into 12th and 13th respectively. They've got time to make moves, but not a great start. Nose to tail contact there. Raul Llagas, a little bump to Noller, trying to maybe help him forward, who knows.
Yeah, and it is back at the front now as we are too wide going down into the turn 5 hairpin. That is Quicks on the inside, putting a fairly decent move up into second place there. But Aidan Larson up in front, he has flown away 2.5 seconds to the good for P2.
Definitely lovely start for Aidan, exactly what he knew he needed to do. This was always his target after that lap 1. After that race 1 incident. They're 3 wide into one of the hairpins here between the blue car of, I believe that is Quicks, and then Kessus and Dystopian all running in. This is the back end of, this is second, third and fourth place. So over the back, it's the front of the rest of the pack. So this is letting Aidan Larson build a humongous lead out front, while the rest of them all bicker behind over second place. Aidan's going to be loving this, looking at his mirror gap now over 3 seconds, but this next the next chunk of cars all in a big, long, lovely slipstream train, all having a fight there side by side between the 242 of Quicks and Kessus are side by side. The Alien Attack car versus the Positive Perception liveried blue car. There's not a move made. Quicks keeps that position ahead of Kessus. Dystopian is trying to break away as best they know how, but really this is hard work for all the drivers. They've got to attack and defend all at the same time.
And Josh Woolley and Jack Noller nowhere to be seen in this top 10. And despite the pace showing in the first race, there's just nothing that either of them can do to unleash that pace. 2 seconds a lap slower, both of them, than Aidan Larson out in front. And they're just hemorrhaging time as they navigate their way back to the top 10.
Yeah, just a reminder that some of these guys are even teammates with each other. Dystopian and Quicks are both teammates, hence those similar liveries. Here comes Noller and Woolley, both having a look upside the Arctic Liverpool Fox car, I believe that is, of Archie O'Leary. They're basically working together, almost working together here. Contact front to front between Archie and Josh as a car spun around on the inside there. Didn't quite catch who that was, but great news for the guys at the front. That means that Woolley and Noller are now inside the top 10, where they would really quite like to be. But maybe they've got 15 minutes. They're going to have time to make progress, but it's still not optimal for these two gentlemen.
That was O'Leary and Adam Sparrow, I believe, who had been spun around there. Really not helpful for the races. There's 2 cars into the barrier there, up 2 more places for Noller and Woolley. They're really being gifted these positions today. Maybe the racing gods want them to take this challenge to the top 3. Yes,
the racing gods smiling favourably on them, but not smiling favourably on Kessus and Ruggi, who both lost out. Aidan Larson still leads the pack by 3.5 seconds ahead of Dystopian, then Quicks, Ben Gilroy, Kessus, and then it is this pair, Woolley and Noller. This is looking like 2 of your early championship favourites. They were the pundits' favourites. I would say they were the bookies' favourites, but we don't gamble because this is sim racing for fun rather than professional sports. But even still, Woolley and Noller doing very well. They're going to catch up to Kessus, I'd imagine, reasonably quickly. Their lap times are significantly faster and have been throughout all of the practice, qualifying and race sessions we've had over the last few days. So this should be a relatively easy, I say relatively easy. Kessus is a very, very wheel-to-wheel happy driver. They like to be close to other cars. They're very aggressive in their defending, so they're going to have to be a little bit cautious making that move. The drivers now really getting familiar with the circuit, starting to learn, also getting familiar with each other. Should make them braver, but also you don't want to lose out now. If you're already up into the top 6, you don't want to lose out on that point, especially if your predicted championship rival is just behind or just in front of you for Woolley and Noller.
And considering they're battling at the minute, purple first sector from Josh Woolley there, and Jack Noller keeping well on the back. So if they were smart here, I would suggest that working together would be the best way to get to the front. We don't want any fighting if they're to get through and gain that time on Aiden Larson up in P1, 3.5 seconds out in front. It should be noted.
Definitely, yeah. If they want to catch that, then catch Aiden, they need to get into that top 3 within the next 4 to 5 minutes, I would estimate. Fastest lap of the race from Aiden there, a 1:37.5, but Woolley's predicted lap time is also looking very rapid, despite him fighting Kessers. Kessers trying to defend the inside. Woolley easily goes right around the outside. Lovely move from him. Puts him up a little bit wide, actually, coming out of turn 1 into turn 2. But that means that he is now through. There's a car between him and Jack Noller, which means they have a little bit of breathing room for Woolley. But here we go. Noller now needs to think about making another move, or a similar move on Kessers at a different point on the circuit, without letting Owen Goldsmith behind catch up. Just a reminder, he is a defending champion, but he's also didn't have the best of race 1, so he needs to score points beating these 2 cars if he is to defend that green bannered championship. Here we go. Up down the big straight they go, the 4 of them. Josh Woolley leading Kessers, then in the slipstream Jack Noller. He's having a look up the inside, chooses not to go for it. Does he go for it? Yes, he does. Late on the brakes. Lovely, clinical, clean, perfect from Noller, keeping up with Woolley. 5th and 6th now for that pair. Owen Goldsmith hoping to tag along behind them.
And Gilroy is the next victim, P4. Last lap was a 37.5, which is matching the pace of Aiden Larson up in front. And immediately, purple middle sector for Josh Woolley there after having dispatched Kessers, and Jack Noller not far behind. So really, they're making pretty good headway into the lead of Aiden Larson and the rest of the top 4. I reckon it will be another 2 or maybe even 3 laps before they catch up to Gilroy in 4th place.
Yeah, they've definitely got a little bit of time to put in some clean qualifying style lap times. Woolley's lap is very, very fast though, so he's definitely, they're no slouch, these 2 drivers. They know what they're doing. They've got the pace to catch up to the cars in front, assuming they can keep it clean and don't start fighting amongst themselves. But Aiden's lap times are well and truly clear at the front. He's 2.8 seconds. The gap's come down a little bit, but he's still got a humongous buffer. We're not even halfway through though, so anything can happen, as we saw in race 1 and even in attempt 1 of race 2. Now these 2 guys definitely pulling away though from Owen behind and Kessers behind that.
And already coming on to the back straight, the transition between first sector 1 and sector 2 already over a second up on their best lap, as we see the battle for 10th place here between Pinnock and Summer. Summer might be able to get a toe down this back straight going into the turn 5 hairpin to send a move up the inside, but for Kessers, who was running so well, this will be a little bit of a disappointment.
Yeah, definitely not what they were hoping for. Got that reverse grid pole position, slowly sliding back down to P10, getting caught up by the quick drivers behind, like Jordan Pinnock here. Raced last season in the Cooper, had a season of mixed fortunes. Everything from very near the front podium finishes to right way out of the points for them. So hopefully this will be the start of a nice clean season for them, as they're currently at the back, in 10th place, being chased by series rookie Summer and BUSR common F1 driver Luke Sawyer there. No move being thrown through the tight middle section because there's not really much you can do there. It's very hard to make any move whatsoever. Aiden Larson though still putting in nice fast lap times at the front to keep extending that gap, but Jack Noller and Josh Woolley are also putting in some very, very fast lap times. In the 1:36s for those 2 gentlemen, exactly what they need. And Jack Noller has gotten past Josh Woolley. Woolley's having a look up around the outside, underneath that Yokohama branded bridge they go. And Jack Noller though has taken 5th place. These 2 are not working together to catch up. They are very much gloves off, fighting amongst themselves for championship points. They know these 2 are probably going to be rivals come the end of the season, assuming they keep it clean and keep turning up to races. So these are important points, even this early on.
And yeah, going down the back straight here into the turn 5 hairpin. Now I sound like I'm on repeat here, how many moves are being made, with Noller defending the inside from Woolley, who's going to try and go around the outside. The banking is not in his favour. And through this twisty middle section, Noller should have the position, but really Noller had just been sat behind Wooly for perhaps a smidge too long and said, hey man, I've got to get past. I think I can catch us both up. So maybe Wooly should have let him through. Maybe there was no point in battling, but it's been great entertainment for us at home. So let's see what they can do to catch up to P4 Ben Gilroy.
Definitely now Nola. Maybe we've unleashed the beast that was the qualifying master. He's the only driver operating in the 136s across the grid. Most drivers in the 137s or even the 138s. So let's see if he can basically replicate that consistently. Ben Gilroy is doing 1 minute 37.5s. So that's already at least half a second that he can gain on him. Fastest purple sector, 3 there for Jack Nola. Fastest purple sector, it's the same word twice basically in this context, but never mind. So he already gains 2/10 on that lap while overtaking Josh Woolley. He's now got free air ahead of him. Woolley got no response, it seems. His lap time was over 1 minute 37 within the 138s. So let's see if he can rebuild. But for now, these front drivers are pushing as hard as they can to keep away from these two charging drivers. Race 1 and really the race 1 winner and race 2, well, a good chunk of your podium and a good chunk of your potential championship battle. The 33 car there is doing very, very nicely. Closed up another 2/10 through sector 1 alone. Nola did on Ben Gilroy ahead. However, Woolley is keeping up with him. Their lap times have stabilised now. They've finished their inter-race bickering. So they're now being able to put in those solid lap times. There's fuel load coming down. Tire temperatures going up. The track is a nice toasty 27 degrees. Not too hot to start worrying about burning unless you're really sliding around, but enough to keep you going. Sector 2 is showing more gains for both cars. Woolley goes fastest in sector 2 though, so he's evidently used that slipstream down the big straight to great effect to keep the gaps closing to the Ben Gilroy car ahead, which they can definitely see at some point of the circuit, and that is a massive psychological boost for these drivers.
Just out front, the pace really stabilising between the drivers as Dystopian sets the fastest lap of his personal best, fastest lap of the race, as the gap out front is 3.5 seconds. But looking further down the order, there looks to be a battle for P14. A couple cars within 2 seconds of each other or so, but really it's out front where there's going to be a lot of progress happening from Jack Nola and Josh Woolley to catch Aidan Larson, Dystopian, Quicks and Ben Gilroy as your top 4 drivers.
Definitely, just a word on those last laps. Both Josh Woolley and Jack Nola were gaining time, or did gain time, sorry, on the cars ahead by a good chunk, both of them dropping into the 136s, Ben Gilroy in the 137s, Quicks in the 138s. So they're closing up quite rapidly, but we're focusing here on a different battle. That is Raul Llagas in the pink car going side by side with the number 4 Panasonic car for but this is the back end of the top 15. Llagas, Zalia and Benjamin. There's those 2 teammates in the Panasonic livery car. I very, very like those nice retro throwback to Toyotas of old. Side by side for they go though into the big hairpin at the end of the main straight. Up the inside for Benjamin goes, getting basically a double overtake, goes very, very wide, completely ruined their chance of any making interfaces up there. Not their greatest move, but I love the ambition. I love what they're showing us here. Zalia staying in 15th, Raul Llagas staying in 14th. It's great battle up and down the field, and just remember, if you want to come and race where you think, oh, I'm not as quick as these guys at the front, I'd never be there, you'd be on your own. No, you really wouldn't. If you join the BUSR, you will end up fighting someone up and down the grid. We've got drivers in the 137s down to drivers in the 143s. So assuming you're within 6 seconds of the lead, which most people are, if they're have done any driving, we'll be happy to have you. There is a place for you, there will be fights for you. There may even be surprise results if you're at the front, you might be expecting. If you're at the back, getting those first points is an incredible feeling. Here we go, down the start, finish, straight they go. Number 4 leading, that's the Zalia car ahead of the blue and black car down the inside. Can't quite see the race number just yet on what that car is. It's a number 88 car, but there's no move to be made just yet. They're going back to Linus Sturm. Zalia still leading ahead of John B at the back end of the 50. This is over the last point, remember. Zalia is in 50, which is that 1 point scoring position. John B looking for a point. They've scored points before. They've got a race win before. They know what they're doing in the touring cars and the Genesis in previous seasons, but they've now got to prove they can do it in these lovely, lovely little Toyotas. up the inside. Ben Gilroy and Quicks are now having a fight. That is exactly what Jack Noller wants to hear, because it means that they're going to be even slower than they were before. They're side by side, Quicks holding the inside line.
And if you want an indication here of how much time Jack Noller and Josh Woolley have gained, the gap to Owen Goldsmith in 7th is now over 6 seconds. And it only seemed like a couple of laps ago that they were fighting, but here we come onto the start-finish straight around the aptly named last corner, turn 11, and Ben Gilroy and Quicks here look like they're going to be under pressure from the hard-charging duo of Noller and Woolley.
Definitely, it's definite risk they've got to worry about now. They've got to start thinking, right, I might lose everything, or I might just have to give up this fight, might have to just stop bickering with each other and just focus on defending from those rapid drivers behind. It's a decision everyone has to make, and it depends quite how much they want to fight every single fight versus how much they care about the long run here. Ben Gilroy is now very much alongside and going around the outside of Quicks in that the dress-up darlings car. Teammate of Josh Woolley, just a reminder, those two are teammates, which may come into the fact, but here they go. They have arrived on the scene. Jack Noller is definitely here and definitely ready to make a move. They've got 2 minutes 50 seconds. Aidan Larson has checked out at the front. The gap up over 4 seconds for the first time basically this race. There we go, two cars looking to both make a move on Quicks. Ben Gilroy getting stomping on the brakes, twitch on the rear there, keeping it nice and clean. They're too wide. There they go. Jack Noller through. Ben Gilroy second, this little that trio, but they're both behind Quicks, which is 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. Woolley just sitting there, biding his time, waiting, watching and wondering, when can I make my move?
Oh, it's down the inside, and there's contact between and that is Ben Gilroy off the circuit, I believe, and Jack Noller and Josh Woolley getting those positions up. Now, was that a little bit of a late move from Noller there? Who knows, but one thing's for certain, he's up into 4th place. He's 1 step away from the podium, and at the rate he's closing on Quicks, which last lap was over 1.5 seconds, he looks well set to overtake, if he can do it cleanly, that is, and end up on the podium.
Definitely, he's got a chance. Quicks is a driver who's got podiums before. We know he's even got 1 race win, and he's got nearly 400 points for coming into this weekend. So he's evidently an accomplished, experienced driver. But Jack Noller, he's just got raw pace. That guy, he's proved. Yes, I'm here, and I'm here to make a statement, and I'm here to do well, and that's what he's doing now. He's already up into 4th from let's call it basically 14th, 15th at the end of lap 1, let alone 10th on the grid. Lap times well into the 36s, which is something that Quicks has not been able to achieve, and definitely not in this race. Only got a 1:37.5 as his best. So the move is not imminent, because we've only got 1 minute 10 to go, but it is definitely an option for this pair of drivers. Woolley gaining as well with Ben Gilroy's accident, who has managed to recover it back nicely into P6, so only lost out to the drivers he was fighting, didn't lose out to anyone behind.
And just to point out just how quick Noller and Woolley have been, it's a good 0.5 second to the next fastest driver in terms of their best lap. So Noller and Woolley into the 36.8s as Noller looks around the outside of Quicks, but gets a little bit of a wiggle as he tries to set it up for the start-finish straight, but he's got Woolley behind putting the pressure on as he gets a bit of a wobble coming there out of turn 10.
Yeah, they're pushing to the absolute limit. 20 seconds left on the clock. We've got leaders cross the line. That is basically as good as 2 laps to go, because we've got this final lap and then the +1 at the end. Massive weave out of the way there for Noller. Woolley and him go side by side now. Woolley evidently got that benefit of the double slipstream and the good run out of the last corner. Noller defending the inside line, just nudges Woolley wide onto the curb. It's harsh but fair racing as we come now down towards Williams, the left-hander of turn 2, into the Stirling Moss S as they go. Aidan's gap is growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. It's now over 5 seconds. He is very much checked out at the front. Dystopian has got 3 seconds back to this battle here, so their podium position looking pretty safe. Not trying to commentators curse it, but it's pretty safe, I think, from the cars behind.
And Noller and Woolley have to be careful not to trip over themselves here, at risk of giving the 3rd podium place spot away to Quicks here, who, when they were battling, pulled out a nice little 6/10 or so, but he's being reeled in yet again by the hard-charging duo.
definitely the hard-charging duo of the day. I think the storylines coming out of this weekend, or this Monday night, should I say, are going to be Aiden Larson's epic recovery drive and Jack Noller and Josh Woolley. Which way will it go? Who knows? Here we go. Is the move going to be made? Nope. Tries it up the inside. Not quite committed yet. No contact on lovely, clean, fair racing. Now, again, going for the switchback. Noller's experience there definitely showing in the way he can position that car just perfectly to keep it in Quicks' mirrors. Quicks has got to remain as calm as possible going forwards here. Can't quite make a move into the last corner, but the gap is so tight between the two of them. It's basically non-existent. Quicks running as far away from the racing line as possible, trying to break that toe because these cars do use it so heavily. They've only got 314 horsepower. Side by side on the braking zone we go. Noller round the outside, tries to make it stick, turns into the inside for turn 2. Excellent car positioning, seals the move for Noller up onto the podium. Quicks now going to have to worry about Woolley behind while trying to get back past Noller ahead. It's a tough position to be in. Woolley having a think through the S's, probably wise not to make the move there. 3 wide, very nearly into the last corner before the main straight. Aiden Larson has checked out even further the gap now over 6 seconds. Noller, humongous gap to Dystopian. No point in him worrying about that on the last lap, but he has got to worry about Quicks behind, who now has the mega toe down the main straight.
Yeah, excellent move there from Noller, as that looks like a look at the inside from Quicks. Late on the brakes maybe. Nothing doing. It's Josh Woolley now. It's his turn to get past Quicks. I wonder if Ben Gilroy's teammate there can help him in any way at all. But it looks like that's a nailed-on podium for Jack Noller. Not to provide the commentator's curse, but the question is, can Josh Woolley get past Quicks on this final lap of the race?
Not many corners off the racetrack to go. It's not a long track, but here we have it. The man of the day, arguably the most impressive driver we've seen all season, because we haven't seen that many. Aiden Larson, the Australian driver, rough season last season, proven champion, comes back from well outside the top 20 in race 1 to win race 2 of the day at Okayama circuit. He is going to be very happy with that. Dystopian, our defending student class champion, comes out with a strong performance in race 2 to get his first podium of the year. Jack Noller in 3rd. Quicks managed to hold off Woolley for 4th, and then it is the dress up darling teammate of Ben Gilroy in 6th place. They keep it nice and polite behind to avoid any fighting, and then we have got the rest of the pack coming through behind them. Owen Goldsmith coming back in a very quiet 7th place. Andrea Ruggi recovering a little bit to 8th place, but not a great race for them. We know they can do better than that. Jordan Pinnock 9th. Kessler rounding out the top 10 in exactly the place to finish the last race in. Summer in 11th. Luke Sawyer 12th. Raul Yagas 13th. Nice couple of points for him there, as our timing has a little bit of a fart as everyone decides to cross the line. Lovely rollback from the alien attack of their car. And then I've got on my timing screen, I've got Josh Hughes, Barjam, Archie Leary, Zalia, and then Sparrow, Cannon, John B, Remy Ario, and then Darzai, Adam Bent, Bailey, Lucas Vanderberg, and Igor Vazovlev at the end of the race. But that is the end of our racing action. We will have the drivers in for some interviews shortly, so do stick around if you want to hear from our winners. But it was race 2 of the day goes to Aiden Larson, but Jack Noller and Josh Woolley both scoring strong points to be at the front of the championship going to round 2 in 1 week's time.
Yep, very good drive there from Aiden Larson. Very replicable of Jack Noller's drive in race 1. Actually, we barely saw him on the broadcast at all. So, proof there if it needs to be that if you want to get a good position, if you want to get a race win in this summer series, you have to check out of the broadcast, really.
Yeah, basically, the less that we talk about you, the better your chances of winning the race. So, yeah, that's basically what it is. The more times that we say your name, the worse you do. We are peak commentator cursing this all the way to the flag of both races. A cracking set of races, a really great opening to the season. Okayama really delivered. That middle section was difficult, it was twisty, it was tight, it was annoying, and it was exactly what we wanted to see. We're now going to have some drivers in for some interviews, so do stick around. I believe we can pull in our first one now, but we'll have to see when they get ready. Of course, they're all going to be very adrenalined up from that pair of lovely, funky, happy, fun races.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah,
okay,
well, first of all...
Josh Woolley into the broadcast booth, sorry.
No. Hello, Woolley. Congratulations on those strong points finishes.
Hello. That was a race, wasn't it?
It was certainly a race. Talk us through it from your perspective. You spent most of it fighting with Jack Noller through the pack in the second race and, well, almost fighting him in the first one.
Yeah, the first one was unfortunate, really. he was just that little bit quicker than me, so just slowly cruised off. And I kind of had to settle for second place. And then the second race, really, we came together on lap 1. Again, a little bit unfortunate, but he gave the position back as an apology. So, all's fair. And then just trying to drive through the field without getting collected in the many scuffles, let's say. Was interesting. It was fun. Always nice to see a teammate win the race, and hopefully should gain a position or two from post-race penalties. So, all in all, happy with the result.
And just talk us through the battles that you were having there throughout that race, because there was a lot of interesting moves going on. Was there anything that really stuck out for you? Any moves during that second race that you would really want to see in the end of year highlights reel?
I think me versus Jack, I think it was a lap and a half or something in the second race, where we probably shouldn't have been fighting, considering we were trying to catch up to everyone, but always got to fight a little bit. I think I made the mistake which gave him the run, but it was an interesting battle, good fun, and nice to see that I'm similar on pace to him and hopefully can challenge him for the rest of the season.
Well, we look forward to seeing that fight go on forward. Thank you very much for speaking to us.
Cheers, guys.
And speaking of successful drives through the field, I would like to think we're now going to invite Aidan Larson to the interview booth to talk about his cracking race 2 victory. Hello, Aidan. Talk us through that absolute carnage of a pair of races.
Yeah, it was definitely unique. I'm a bit knackered, so I couldn't really find the pace I wanted to. But yeah, race 1, I'm not sure who punted me, but someone got very aggressive on the inside and spun me to the back of the grid. But, I recovered back to P9, so that was okay for the points. And then, race 2 was just a breeze, because I knew I had the pace over Kessers, so I just used my noggin, took my time, and once I got the fresh air, I just tried to keep it consistent.
And thinking about that race 1 that you mentioned there, being spun down all the way to the back end of the top 10, what was your mentality driving through the pack?
Honestly, I wasn't too stressed, because I knew at the end of the day, if I made it into the top 10 for the reverse grid, then that's favourable for me. So, although it wasn't great being spun, I wasn't too stressed about it. And plus, it means I don't need to be as sweaty as I normally have to be. I can kind of take a chill pill, just fight my way through the pack, and just make up positions.
Really great to hear, and we hope that you can have slightly less lap 1 spins in the future races and can really mount a nice title charge. So thank you for speaking to us.
Yeah, likewise. I'll talk to you later.
See you around.
Bye-bye.
And bye. And finally, we have our race 1 winner, newcomer to the series, star of the show, possibly championship leader going into the final, going into round 2. Jack Noller will be speaking to us very shortly. Hello, Mr. Jack Noller. What an introduction to Assetto Corsa in the BUSR that was.
Thank you. Well, I was here in another life. So yeah, I'd come back. I used to race Adam Sparrow and Mazdas, so I heard he was coming here, so I thought I'd join in. But yeah, race was a bit calmer as expected with normal grids, and then reverse grid happened. I didn't help initially after the restart. But yeah, we all got away with it in the end, and then just picking your way through the field.
So I know obviously you're used to racing MX-5s in real life. How do these Toyota GR 86s with their massively souped up engines, how do they compare to your real life ride?
Everything's different in sim racing, depending, unless you're making things accurately to match it. These probably match the Toyotas probably quite well. The Mazdas, you're a bit more lively. Slipstream is crazy powerful, like Dollington, and the Mazdas is like 1.5 seconds a lap in slipstream. So not quite that field equaling tow here, but yeah, still really enjoyable to drive. The fact the setups are not that adjustable helps keep the field a bit closer as well. So there's not much setup engineering, and everyone's been talking to each other before anyway. So we've all got about the same thing between teams and cars, and yeah, so it's just a good way of keeping the racing close.
That's what we like to see. Are you going to come back next week, or is that a one and done for you?
I'd like to be back next week. I was at Snetterton 200 next week. Was there this year. Which not often Snetterton 200 is raced in real life, and it's an interesting layout. So whoever's got the best top speed and all that jazz will probably we'll see how that all lines up. A bit of a sketchy track to try and overtake on because there's no big braking zones at the end of straights. So I expect there'll be some incidents, to say the least. The only overtaking spot easily is hairpin 2, but then that gets very tight very quickly. So let's see what happens next week.
Well, yeah, we'd love to see you there, and thank you very much for speaking to us.
Yeah, you too as well. Take care.
That is about all we've got time for of this round 1 of the BUSR Summer Series in Assetto Corsa. As Mr. Jack Noller said, we will be back here next week at the same time, but in a different place. We're off to the home of motorsport, the UK, down to Snetterton. Just want to say a quick thank you to our organisers, thank you to our race organisers, stewards, our broadcaster manager Doomskull. Thank you for Tom for joining me. I've been Dan, and we will see you all next week. Goodbye for now.
See you later. Bye bye.
There is no place and no moment in history where I could stand and say, Old British begins here, now. Rainbow Road.